after each of the videos, it's fun to read the comments, and there are quite some interesting things in there in my videos in general. A little recognition because, why not? This was a comment about the Heimerdinger conversation we were having about, like, if, how could he maybe have a relationship? And that really made me laugh. If you can read it, it says, in fact, there's no proof that he isn't the Yordle in the Gimp suit in episode 5. And hands down, that is my favorite fan theory of all time. So, last comment I enjoyed was about you. Clearly, he picked his Discord avatar because of the ears. So, he's gained some self-confidence about his ears since last video, so wanted to say thank you for that one.
Thanks, man.
Alright, you ready for the quote? You ready to...
Yeah, I'm ready to not recognize it.
We will show them all. Silco!
Oh, I think that one's actually Silco, yeah.
Yeah, he's saying that to Jinx, right?
Mm,
Right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, well, we're both gonna look like fucking idiots if we're wrong.
We'll show them. We will show them all.
Editor me will take care of it. By the way, I do think you might enjoy this episode more than the last one because from your art perspective, this one's titled Kill Streaks Meet Keyframes. And keyframes kind of leads me to believe maybe we'll get a little bit into the art. I could be wrong. How do you go about interpreting that in title?
That strikes me as a lot more into the animation aspect, which makes me think it's 3D animation.
Yeah, but still, that'd probably more
yeah.
focused on the art, whereas like last episode, we were focused quite heavily on the drama of it almost being canceled.
That's true.
So, alrighty. Ready?
Yeah.
Ah, it's our boy! I like his outfit.
There definitely is a lot of Paris
Pretty
like
sweet
culture in
jacket.
Arcane. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of Piltover looks like Paris.
This is so interesting because I see it now. Looking at this building right in front of me, I see this design in the building that we see in episode 1 that gets blown up. When I did the reading Arcane 1-star reviews, the first comment that I came across was that it's very Americanized.
Oh, yeah.
I guess it could be referring to any aspect, characters, or story, or how it is designed overall. However, at least we know for sure that it takes heavy inspiration from Paris, because I know a lot of people in the comments were also kind of confused what that meant, right? Because do you remember that comment? It was too Americanized.
Yeah.
It was a little confusing because when you think of America, you think of America, and I don't know. Arcane didn't make me think of America, but yeah, it's neat to know for sure that they definitely took inspiration from Paris.
Things are designed to be functional, but also
Cluck!
to be a piece of
Look.
art. Is actually...
I almost could see his tattoo. But that also looks cool. That reminds me of the Teletubbies, but brought into the modern day. You know how they had that, like, green...
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
years ago.
Oh, this is where Worlds was held?
Cool,
in
because
a
it was really close to our
grass
studio,
hut?
so we sent a bunch of people from Fort
Yes.
It was
Cool.
just something really special to finally be able to share that with them.
It's always nice when... Well, not always nice, but taking things that are normally only existing on the internet and getting a chance to express that excitement and joy in real life is fun 95% of the time. The other 5% of the time, you're like, this room really smells bad. I don't know what I'm doing here.
L'opportunité de faire quelque chose de très,
Oh,
très bien.
wait! Captions! I'm on it. I'm on it! I'm on it! This French man is saying, we saw straight away that this was... I got permission to do the French accent. Someone was very nice and, like, give me pass. So I hope that's okay.
Le jeu mondial et
Jean-Pi.
l'opportunité de faire quelque chose de très très bien.
Tamil? That's cool.
For us, Arcane was a big opportunity to show the viewers that we...
Hey, that's kind of what I did in the video. I made it frame by frame. And you can see, oh, that's neat. You can actually see all of his layers there on the left side.
Yeah, you can see his layers.
There was the 3 colors. I think one of them was supposed to represent Vander, one of them was Clagger, and then one of them was Milo. So, also, I just noticed, I'm probably way too detailed and should just keep watching, but the bar that he has, like his work bar at the bottom, his task bar, just has bare minimum. It's not like flooded with 2,000 apps like I thought it would be.
Oh yeah.
Random comment, but French people seem to all not age. Like, they just seem so nice looking, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I don't know, they all seem like they're happy and, I don't know, they look good, I guess.
You need to find someone who's kind of willing to bleed for, like, this thing they're trying to make.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think otherwise you're gonna really be bold. Otherwise you're not gonna really have anything where you're
Oh,
gonna risk
the
something.
title intro's
You
coming.
have to risk something in order to
The
make-
title intro's
make something
coming.
that makes an impact.
Oh, here it comes. Victor! Oh, that's kind of freaky.
That's weird.
We can kind of see what his tattoo says. No?
I don't know what.
It's not in English. I think that's why
Yeah,
I've been struggling. Interesting.
I don't know what the first word is.
Hi. So, this is Editor Silly, and I don't know why I was so obsessed with trying to figure out what his tattoo said throughout these episodes, but I think we've put the pieces together and we've got it. So, I zoomed in on his tattoo. I took a snip, and we think, from what we can see, it says this, which translates to license. And it's so stupid, I know, but we've come to believe it basically means licensed in poetry, because the bottom word is poetica. We're pretty sure it means like a licensed poet. So I doubt you cared as much as I did. I don't know why I cared as much as I did, but mystery solved. We can move on.
Animators,
Lens flare.
editors, and just brainstorm a bit
More lens
together.
flare.
What would be the
More
coolest
lens
version of
flare.
this scene or this kind of episode? So you're just worrying about, like, it being too complex?
My goals.
Cool. We see our writer. I'm getting used to the faces and stuff now, but that whiteboard, that massive whiteboard that like is the entire wall, is such a smart idea to do
Mhm.
for a room.
Yeah, you have a lot of space to write down stuff. You have people can come up and add their own input.
Okay, that's all. Continue.
Hey guys, here's all our awesome ideas, and then they tell us whether they can produce.
Also, note all of the masks. Something we haven't talked about at all in part 1 or 2 has been how COVID affected this, you know? Me and
Mhm.
you. Did they mention it in episode 1? Because I think they might have talked about how it got shut down briefly.
I think so. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they might have.
But, like, they didn't really focus on it. They didn't talk about, like, if it really threw them for a loop or anything like that.
Yeah.
All the masks were just reminding me about how they worked through this project while that was going on and still persevered. Whereas, you know, there was a lot of movies and other creative projects that didn't survive COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing eye for character designs, the models, the
You know, seeing that Airblimp, if that's what it's called. Spaceship? No, Spaceship.
Airship.
I combined the two that I was like, Airblimp, Spaceship.
Yeah.
Nah, whatever. It's just interesting to see the design. I don't know this. I will shut the fuck up and just keep watching.
stylization.
Tu vois la cam? Je sais pas si
Why just the man of shadow?
The invisible wizard at Fortiche.
That's a cool
Today
thing to
I
know,
want to
be known by.
create the lab to expand.
Subtle, nuanced camera work. Where
That's what the subtle, nuanced camera work is.
Mhm.
The thing that elevated this from like an 8 to a 10. You know, it
I
was
agree.
like, even if, I don't know, I'm trying to think if you had that, the camera work, the art on its own, like just looking at it, I'd be like, that's great, this is amazing, this is great. But the camera work and everywhere they decide to put the camera was like half of it. It just made the difference.
Yeah, I agree.
De-aging with me, please.
Okay.
I want some de-aging.
He's asking for the kind of put like CGI de-aging on him. Maybe maybe that's why they look great. They fucking de-aged them. I'm just kidding.
He tells us, you know, what I want is the psh, what I want is
I want the psh.
You know what?
The hair is pretty detailed.
Wait, who is that?
That 3D model? I believe that's the guy that just said he wants some de-aging.
Wait, so they made him?
Yeah.
They made...
Yeah.
I was like, it looks very familiar to the guy that was just talking.
Yeah.
I'm just... wait a second. Take a look to the left. Do you recognize that from League of Legends? Any of the champions?
I do not.
I don't
No.
recognize it from season 1 of Arcane, that's for sure.
I don't either.
it almost feels like it's not an Easter egg, but you know, maybe.
Yeah.
Because it kind of has like a creature looking design. It has a large tail and
It
some.
does.
I mean, it's not just there just because. I mean, it could be another project. Could be looking into it too deep, but you know me with my.
I'll send you a link to the entire list of champions. And what I'm going to specifically do first is look through champions that are specifically from Zon and champions from Piltover.
Ooh, that's a smart. Look at detective work over here. Okay, we're gonna try our honest best to see if we can find what this model on the left here might be in terms of Arcane, but we might not be successful. So, and also, it could be nothing at all.
That's a character from Zon? Look at this fucking fairy princess looking.
Oh, is she on like a fucking... What is that game called? Is she on like a Dance Dance Revolution pad? What is she on?
What, the character I just showed you? I don't know, actually.
Hmm.
It literally is, you're right, actually. It is a dance floor-like instrument that she uses to magically move.
No way! For real?
You're dead right. It's a Hextech Dance Revolution platform.
Hextech? Wait, that would be so cool if next season we get a fucking Dance Dance Revolution like club scene or something where like we see that in the background. Funny. Yeah, that's great. Oh, I just came across Caitlin. Corky. That looks cool. Hey, it's Ekko. It's cool to see their art.
Yeah.
Biz? Whoa! That's like an alien. That's... Whoa! This guy's fucking huge! Dude, Galio?
Gallia?
Oh my gosh! I'm trying to put any other Arcane character up against him right now, and then he just would Hulk smash. Like, no chance.
There's a bunch of... There's one, Malphite. He's like this massive fucking titan of, like, he's just like a half a mountain, basically, I guess.
Oh my. And while you were looking up champions using Piltover and Zon, I found a list of all of the League of Legends characters with tails. So.
Oh, that's smart. So far, I haven't found anything.
There's a literal cat. Maybe they're making... No. Well, it kind of has the same color idea. There's a League of Legends character named Yumi. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong.
No, yeah, you're right.
They have a tail and the legs are the same color. I mean, maybe they just humanized it or something.
From what little I know about Yumi, that might be weird, but maybe.
Oh, that's funny. I just realized this tail thing I've been referencing for the League of Legends characters is like a ranking of the tails. It's like
that's funny.
The champions with the best tails, in my opinion. So it's actually not a list of all of them. It's just a list of their opinion of the best tails. For Rengar, they said not as massive as the others, but for a lion tail, it's very good and long. I like it. Warwick has a tail?
He's a wolf, yeah.
I guess you're right. That must be an interesting feeling to go from not having a tail to having a tail. Alright, well, I'm gonna call it just because it's been like 15 minutes and maybe someone will know what that thing's from, but if not, I also want to figure out, like, can you imagine just casually being able to slap together a 3D model of your boss? Just like, hey, here you go.
And then he doesn't have hands.
Yeah.
That's great.
And
wow.
They wanted to incorporate the 3 directors in the show.
Oh. I didn't know
That's
this.
pretty cool.
Did you know this?
No.
I did not know this. That's so neat.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh. I know this is one of your favorite scenes.
I love
I like the scene a lot, yeah.
As kids in there, but it just added this level of emotion between them. It honestly, it's like, oh, I feel like these characters could be in love now.
Don't know if I got that from that.
Not either, but I
I
can see it.
No, I can't.
I guess.
I can't. Well, also, I should probably let my audience know about my accidental changing of gender I did by accident.
With Ekko?
Yeah. So with Ekko, and not that, like, it couldn't work between, like, a female Ekko and a female Jinx, but that just adds, like, another layer, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm, like, nervous. Fuck. I should just mention that, I had, for a few episodes, not that it matters too much, but viewed Ekko as a woman, just because I don't know why. I just did. And even
You just didn't recognize it at first.
I don't. Yeah, I didn't recognize him as the little kid, and then on second watch, not even on second watch, I realized it after what was it, episode 5? I was like, oh shit, that's Ekko. And then, but my problem was where I kept getting shit from my friends was I recognized it, understood Ekko is male, and then kept using she as the pronouns by mistake, just because this show's good at not having to stick truly to its two cultures boundaries of what can be masculine and what can be feminine, which is great. It really just lets the characters be who they are, and that's that. So I was like, oh, this Ekko person is just very, like, you know, built. But I was wrong. But no, I personally didn't get any. In that scene, I kind of saw an Ekko who looked into Jinx's eyes and still saw powder and then realized. Yeah, and like there was probably like 60 emotions that went through Ekko's head, and you can see all of them. I don't think love was one of them. I guess if I am trying to look through it in that lens, I can see it, maybe. But to me, that feels like a stretch. But
yeah, I'm in the set. Like, if I try to shoehorn that emotion in there, I could like make it fit, I guess. But I did not see it naturally either.
yeah, but that's cool that the author felt that way. There's nothing wrong with either approach. This here, I believe you had the criticism for, and I believe a lot of the other people had the criticism for in terms of plot armor, because Ekko was pretty darn close, and we don't get any clear visuals that Ekko had moved far enough away to not be completely obliterated by this explosion. Do you want to talk more on that, since that was one of your main points of critique?
It just, I remember it not making sense to me that Jinx was as gravely wounded as she was, and then for Ekko to only have like a damaged leg. But I remember it might have been in one of your comment sections or somewhere on the internet, I don't remember. But someone pointed out that you can hear a very subtle little tink sound of Ekko kicking the grenade away. You can hear metal against metal as the grenades moved, which makes sense as to why both of them would be alive next to the grenade explosion.
Yeah, I guess if that is true, it's too subtle. I think it's one of those things that's a little bit too subtle of a cue. But then again, I think they wanted that tension. They wanted us leaving this scene because we cut away. You know, after this, we don't know what happens. It's my mother. I'm gonna answer this call real quick.
You do that.
We'll be back in a second. Okay. Alright. Ready to continue?
Yeah.
Okay.
This sequence is in every way, technically, artistically, it's I don't know how to say that. Masterpiece of the whole season.
Yeah.
I feel like a good word for it would be like a crescendo of all of the emotion built up and then visually put into one artistic moment. What is that saying when it's your best work of your life and you'll never do anything better? It's like a funny
Magnum
word.
Opus.
It's their magnum opus. Mwah. That's a funny
Chef's
word.
kiss.
It sounds like
It is.
a way to say like your belly button in like Latin or something like that. That scene is a moment, a momento, a moment, to say the least.
This particular image to me is just like the combination, you know, Hextech's art and science. And I think that's exactly what I feel like the Fortiche depiction is. You know, it is, I feel the science, I feel the power, I feel the energy, but I also feel the beauty.
So I was thinking of a way to try to put that into words. In regards to him, what he just said about mixing science and art and finding the beauty in it, and then he thinks that was encapsulated in that last moment there when Jinx was sending off that rocket. I was just thinking about the description I gave you earlier today when I was talking about how I've started to kind of feel like a writer, because I have like scrap pieces of paper everywhere and like 6 different notebooks and fucking shit everywhere, like kind of chaotic. And I'm like going through papers, like, oh, here's the thing. But I was gonna say the process that's required in order to pull off something like this requires a lot of almost a science. Like they need organization and to be able to direct a team through making something like this. You know, you can't kind of just like, oh, here's like I did a render of a airship, and I did here's a render of Piltover, but it's in green because I thought that would look cool, and you know, then you get all these parts put together and you're like, oh, this doesn't work. So I think it's cool. It's a nice metaphor to just summarize their work in general is like a mix of art and science, because there's like a flow to it. You can feel it, but at the same time, there has to be that background rigidity to it.
Ça pierre l'édifice. Ça pierre l'édifice, comme on dit.
Fuck! I don't have captions on. I don't know why it takes me so long every time to realize. Like, my brain's just sitting here like, oh yeah, totally, And I'm like, wait a second, you have no fucking clue what they're saying.
I mean, sometimes their accents are really heavy, and even when they are speaking English, it kind of sounds like they're speaking French.
Yeah, it might be that, because sometimes it's just the heavy accent, and then sometimes it's like, oh no, it's full-on French. I think.
Ça pierre l'édifice. Ça pierre l'édifice, comme on dit. Enfin...
Oh, yeah, I like that, because they just said about how everybody adds their stone to the building to make it all come together. But again, if you just fucking threw the stones in a pile, shit would not become a building. It takes so much planning, and I think, you know, I always daydream about having the job. That's the person in the background doodling and making fucking Heimerdinger's mustache look good. But, you know, the role of the person behind the scenes, making sure that what I'm doing is the correct stone in the correct place to make the building, you know, it's not often appreciated.
Oh, whoa, I like them.
I do too.
And I like the child's drawings on the left.
That's so many layers on the right. Holy fucking shit.
Yeah, I know. I go fucking past like 20, and even that's pushing it. It starts to get, it makes me confused and gives me a headache.
I don't know what these are for, but I absolutely love it. Oh, you know what? That drawing on the left kind of looks like the drawing I think we see in the room when Silco is giving the officer's daughter a visit, Marcus's daughter.
Oh, it does.
I don't know for sure. I do know at one point he's looking down at a drawing or something. Maybe. I'll try to find it. If not, ignore me.
In the storyboard department, we take the scripts and we work with the directors. We try to build something that is not there yet in the script, but there's also the...
Is that the place you think work-wise you would be the most comfortable? Elias and I talk a lot about, he's really into art, he's pursuing art, and there's so many different components in this design process to make Arcane. Where do you think you would fit in? Like, where would you enjoy the most?
Either in this space right here that they're showing now, or like the preliminary, like pre-concept art where like an art director gives, or a bunch of people give an artist an idea, and the artist has to try and, based off their feedback, bring the picture in their brain and put it on a piece of paper for everyone to comment on and kind of have a collective image to work off of. That sounds really cool and fun to me, if stressful, but still fun.
I'm trying to think about when I was a kid, and I'd be like, oh, I want to draw an elephant, and I have a picture of an elephant in my head, and then as it somehow goes from my brain down my arm to the paper, it no longer looks anything like what I had in my head. So that alone, having the skill and training yourself and practicing and getting that talent to be able to do that. And then you have to add in the component of being able to have really good communication skills with people, because you have to be able to really listen and be like, hey, I think this is what they're saying. They want this in their drawing, and transplanting that or transferring that into a drawing. So yeah, it's cool.
And you'd have to make a lot of revisions too, as they're like, okay, that's not quite,
and not take it personally,
and be able to do it without like feeling exhausted.
Yeah, not being like, oh, I failed, I wish I could have just gotten on the first try. Like, oh no, like they just that's a cool department. I think for me, I definitely would be somewhere in the writing department, but at which stage I am not sure. Ooh.
And then while that's happening, you're recording the dialogue with the talent.
I love a good conundrum.
That's Heimerdinger?
What?
Oh my god, this is Mel! I told people that have been listening since episode 1 know that I have this problem with viewing voice actors, because then for the rest of my life, whenever I, like, for example, when I finally saw the voice actor that plays SpongeBob, I love SpongeBob, it's great, you know, SpongeBob was a good thing to put on the background, because, you know, it was a childhood thing for me, but, like, now, when I hear SpongeBob, I hear him talking to me, and I'm like, you old man, what are you doing talking in this silly voice? So, I'll get over it, I'll get through it, but this right here, just know that I'm going through, like, so many emotions on this end as we hit play.
Voice acting's fucking crazy, dude.
It is! Dude, no offense, I'm small, guy's larger. For some reason, my brain, you know, because he's small, I don't know why, but, like, you know, I just picture him small. Obviously, that doesn't make any logical sense. If I had given it 2 seconds of a thought, I would have been like, oh, it's probably an average-sized person, but I don't know why. When I think Heimerdinger speaking, I think of Heimerdinger on the other side of the mic speaking for himself. You know, I don't picture a person. So, wow. Yeah, all right.
Hammer forging is such a delicate art.
Shimmer is rampant in the Undercity. Attacks at the Hex Gates and in the Academy Square.
Yeah, but I said I already called it. You can't do... I called dibs.
This is so odd. Oh my goodness. My pea brain is exploding.
We're watching
that kind of stuff, storyboarding. Would you be interested in doing that?
Well, I can appreciate it. It's not really my.
Okay, so like more of like just the designing of the actual, like if someone's like, hey, I want Vi to look like this, and then you putting that together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like making making a really rough design of something in a similar style to like a storyboard to get the feel of something. That's kind of, I can get behind that, but storyboards themselves aren't really my thing.
Okay.
Vander learns none of this.
No worries there. Powder took care of the ends.
I tried, okay?
So we were able to watch the whole season.
Oh wow.
From start to finish.
That gave me the last Airbender vibes. The Avatar, last Avatar, the Airbender. Jesus Christ, I can't talk. The last Avatar Airbender, the one that's the cartoon that I liked a lot.
Yes, Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that seeing the very minimal movement of animation and then just hearing amazing voice acting done. Wow.
Mhm.
And they're all kids too. I think that probably added to it. Want to go watch that for the third time?
I'm sure.
It's not always easy to like get these like really raw emotional performances from really young actors. And
Are they going to show the voice actress for Powder? Because that was one of my main points of praise for this show, was the voice actress that played Powder and Vi, because you can hear their voice from when they were younger to when they're older. And it's like Vi's voice matures, but it's the same but ever so slightly different. And Powder's emotions are so, like the guy just said, for a child, capturing that correctly is so difficult. But yeah, I'm excited to see this. I'm gonna hit play. You ready?
we cast for Powder. Let's see how that goes.
I am rolling on this.
Oh wow, the headspace that you'd have to get into.
Left me.
Where did her soul go? She just like blinked. She like took a deep breath and then like she just became Powder. Like, sure. Wow, that's so cool. It didn't even take her like 30 seconds. I thought she was about to do like a whole breathing routine, and like she just like, all right, you ready? Swallowed some of her saliva, ready to go. Fucking wow. I just want to watch again. She just does a breath, and then she's no longer Mia. She's Powder. Wow.
She left me. She is not my sister anymore.
I remember all of us in the booth just like
chills. Just got
being
chills.
shocked by how good she is. And
I got the job when I was 10.
I remember saying this to someone. I was like, I'm pretty sure the person that played Powder was really young. And then I got shit for it, and then I kept my mouth shut because, you know me, I get scared, people are mean. And then I thought, that's cool. Yeah, I was like, no, I'm pretty sure. But that's cool. That's cool. Can you imagine? Oh, that's cool. Because she grew, it's just cool because it was a 6-year project, and she grew up throughout that time. So maybe that's why her voice kind of naturally matures a bit. Like some of it wasn't even her. It just,
to get into that place of vulnerability was hard for me.
Yeah, it's hard to get into that place, especially at that age. And you did a great job.
Yeah. I have a little brother who is my best friend in the entire world.
Aw.
We get upset when we don't see each other for like more than 3 days. I can't imagine a world where he isn't in it.
Where's the...
Oh, you're back! Thinking about what that would be like if something had happened that made...
I hope this isn't insulting to her, but she has a very naturally kind of young sounding voice as well, which might help.
Yeah.
Like her Mia's actual voice, like her resting Mia voice, has a very young kind of not toddler, very young, just, you know, like a 10-year-old kind of sound.
Yeah.
Next thing I knew, it was all just... I only wanted to help my own...
I told you to stay away.
When it comes to siblings, they're your blood. And when you don't have family, what do you have?
Well, as someone who struggles with having a put-together family, there is quite more to life than family. But I get the point that she's trying to make. I think I've learned a lesson throughout my life, at least, that family is not necessarily blood. That family is who you make family, you know? But I do get that motivation, or what she chose to motivate her to get to that place is a very strong motivator to get to that emotional place. For me, someone whose family has not always been consistent, has ups and downs, to say the least. Family is what you make. You know what I mean? Machine.
Yeah.
Like.
You've got a good heart.
Feather!
Whoa.
Oh my.
No matter how the world tries to break you.
Wow.
Vraiment quelque chose de particulier, de plus subtil et profond en fait au niveau de l'acting.
One of the things that I really enjoyed about this show was how much was in between the lines, how much subtext there was. Rarely were we told things right to the face about what the characters were actually feeling. And I think it sounds like, from what I'm getting here, I could be wrong, but from what I'm perceiving, they got this talent in, they got these voice actors in, and they had like the rough storyboard, and they had the voice actors perform their lines. And because they were able to understand that they had such talent in these voice actors, that they were able to perform with such depth and minute, just really well. It kind of might have influenced them in terms of going into it with doing more of that subtextual design. Like with for example, the main thing I can think of is the eyes in the animation of these characters.
Yeah.
With those little white lines, and how often we aren't even told how they're feeling, but they zoom in on the eyes and we get to see just little tiny body changes in the way that a character's posture is. And because with typical cartoons, like let's use SpongeBob again, SpongeBob is probably not a great example, but just talking about it, he's over the top to show his emotions. If he's sad, he's sad. He's happy, he's happy. He doesn't really have these very minute subtextual things. But one of the cons of having a piece of art that has a lot of subtext is it creates room for misinterpretation, perhaps, I guess. Like an example could be the subtext between Vi and Caitlyn could be a good example, right? It's not outwardly stated that they are a thing. However, it's pretty heavily implied through the way they look at each other and the things they say to each other. But that's created, some confusion amongst the community of viewers about what's actually going on there. Some people think it's a woke message and then blah, blah, blah. So anyway, that's my spiel. It's also good. I like subtext. Subtext good. Keep doing it. Thumbs up. I really wish Silco wasn't dead.
Jinx took us the longest of all characters. I think we looked for the Jinx actress, I think, for roughly 3 years.
Wow! 3 years!
Jesus.
That's a long time. I guess that shows how much they care to make sure they get it right. Neat.
I remember we were at a point where it was just, we've been looking for so long.
Look at that art of her little place.
Whoa.
Is that Vi with her? Jinx is working on the left. Oh, no, that's probably Silco, most likely on the right. But Silco doesn't have hair like that, or does he?
I don't think he does.
Who would that be?
I don't know.
So that's kind of the sketched art you'd be interested in doing? Because that looks cool.
That's among the things that I'd like doing, yeah. I think I'd lean slightly more towards character design, at least as I am right now, but...
Sorry, my friend is making a cosplay of Jinx's boots, or Jinx, and she's making her boots right now. And she's not just doing like foam boots or anything like that. She's doing like them with metal, and she asked me if I happened to come across any really good references of Jinx's boots, and this is a good opportunity to send this to her. So
we found Ella.
Hi.
First off, smooth editing. She's just like, hi, which is perfect.
Yeah.
But I am thoroughly mistaken. I had no idea that Powder and Jinx were voiced by 2 different people. I had heard that somewhere and just taken it in as fact, which is silly of me to do. But I did not know, which would make a lot more sense because their voices are quite different. But did you know?
I figured, but I didn't really know for sure. No, I didn't.
Oops, that's my bad. Ignore like the previous times I was talking. I did not know, but I think they did pick a good one.
I felt this like really deep connection with her because of empathy and compassion, on compassionate grounds. Like, yes, she's a terrible person. She's done all these terrible things. But is she a terrible person? Like, I don't know. I started to realize
this right here, an entire thesis done on it, because, well, if you ignore the section of people that view her as a Harley Quinn joke, like mock-up of Harley Quinn, Jinx has some of the most polarizing argument. I think a good example of where you could see that conflict is in Ekko, because Ekko, right, does not see Powder left in Jinx, and truly, sincerely thinks Jinx is gone. Like, Jinx is corrupt and a bad person. But then has that moment when fighting and second guesses that. Whereas Vi kind of goes the other way. Vi doesn't second guess it at all. And it's just like, no, Jinx is my sister and is not a bad person. But then Vi witnesses Jinx during that fight scene, like, just starts shooting the machine gun and realizes, like, looks over and realizes, like, oh my gosh. And then also at the dinner scene when Jinx decides to shoot the rocket off and sits in the Jinx chair, and Vi kind of goes the other way that Ekko did and has a moment of, oh, I don't know if there's any good left in her. So it's cool that she's balancing, she's on that line. She's not clearly, at least in my perspective, I don't think she's very clearly like, I'm bad. And she's not very clearly like, oh, I'm good. Because she is starting at the end of season 2 to become her own person. That's what we get with that, you know, that choice of hers to sit in the Jinx chair. She's growing into her own now. Whereas we could say everything up till then, she's just been a result of her trauma. And to some extent, she still will be. However, there's a shift that's happening. So what she continues to do from here forward will weigh heavier on that moral line that she's balancing of if she's, you know, quote unquote good or bad, because it's more of her own choices now.
Yeah, I agree. It's becoming less a result of her past and more what she herself is deciding to do now.
Difficult trauma response that she's developed because she's gone through things no one should ever have to go through.
Yes.
No, it was a mistake.
Also, let's add in the factor now that she's full of shimmer. She's been at the very end of season 2, she's now kind of, we can say, so she has her trauma and she's coming into her own, but also she's under this new influence. We see it in her eye, right? We see that like shimmer glow. So seeing how that impacts her, and then also how that impacts the argument of her morality, it gets pretty complicated pretty quick. Oh, fuck! You know what? For every time that I've forgotten to put on captions, take a shot and let me know how you're feeling.
Bien plus poussé que dans la plupart des shows d'animation.
Yes, I agree. That's what I was trying to say earlier.
Notre envie, c'est plutôt de essayer de vraiment copier ces acteurs et le casting, des fois, a influencé même le design des personnages.
That's the way to do it, though. That's the way to do it. It came across well. We could see that. Oh, so this is maybe where you'd be more?
I was just said prop design does actually seem really fun to do, drawing little items, little background objects, things in people's hands.
Cool.
The most difficult part was there is a lot of tiny parts who work together.
I want your feedback, because I think you might have a similar opinion, so I kind of want to see if there's any other opinions out there. But when Vi is fighting Savika in the bar, she gets her gauntlet obliterated with the laser sword. Yeah. To me, when I've rewatched it, it looks like it should kind of be going into her hand. I'm just not quite sure. Maybe we'll see about these more, but I'm just not quite sure how it didn't hurt her. To me,
it looked like it should have gone into the palm of her hand, where her hand would be in the gauntlet.
Because the laser sword goes in pretty far back, and just the proportion. It might have been really, really close, but that was something that I was a little confused on.
Tiny pieces, you see here. So it was engineered precisely to work like that.
Really fun to create like all those intricate pieces, like the
Ooh,
leg.
Who is that?
And,
It's once again, it's the lady. Maybe.
Oh yeah.
See who this is.
Of Viktor, all those.
Huh.
Oh yeah, Viktor would be a really fun design because he's got that biomechanical stuff going on.
Then I modeled something like this, and then I gave it to the texture department, and they painted it so it looks like that.
That's neat. Cool teamwork. Thumbs up. Do you think because they draw so much, because I know I probably go through like one pen nib every month. Do you think they go through like 10 pen nibs a day?
It's very possible, yeah.
All the process is...
They look so different there. Oh my.
They do.
Wow. Not necessarily in a bad way, just different.
Yeah, just not what we knew them as.
And I I love to imagine alternative universes ever since, you know, that's become like a really big cultural thing with Doctor Strange and Everything Everywhere All at Once, and just there's been a lot of multiversal talk in culture the last year or two. So I like to pretend or believe, whatever, both are the same thing, I guess, that there's another universe where like something happened and there's another one, but they all looked like this. Collider looks kind of silly to me. I like it.
Ooh.
That's neat. That's horrifying. I that's nightmare fuel. I mean, given knowing I know the context of what scene this is, just the white eyes and the lack of people, and then also to me, what's scary and telling is the lack of any coherent outline or anything in Powder's face. Just the blur of her there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Picasso.
The designer
Wow.
sort of off.
Hey, what the fuck? Okay, I've been practicing roller skating. I think I mentioned this in the other one, maybe not. I've been practicing roller skating for a while, a little bit now. What he just did, I would eat the most gravel. It's, oh my gosh. I've gotten good at getting fast. I still use poor braking methods like hands and knees, but he's just a fucking, like, he's rollerblading as if it's ice. What is this?
Actually, what the designer sort of off.
Butter?
En fait, ce que c'est un rig,
Wow.
le rig de marionnette, point de pivot qu'on
Whoa.
peut faire tourner avec
See, I
des-
think this would be my least
mains,
favorite part, to be honest. If I had a job here. This
On a une
part
équipe
here,
d'animateurs
yeah.
qui est tellement forte que qu'on
We have such
et
a
ils
strong
vont trouver,
team. They find, I don't know,
je sais pas,
3 or 4
3-4
ideas
idées pour rajouter de
to
la
add
vie au
life to the
personnage.
character.
Et de trouver le rythme aussi de l'animation.
The rhythm of the animation. They are pretty good at not overutilizing slow-mo, because
Yeah.
an easy default in cinema, in general, anywhere, is just put in slow-mo to make it fucking intense. You know, like slow-mo equal intense.
Yeah.
In any emotion, sad, or fucking exciting, or whatever you want it to
Yeah,
be.
like
Thrilling.
pay attention to this, yeah.
Slow-mo. But I never once thought they overutilized the slow-mo my entire time watching this show. They use it
I agree.
like the perfect moments, really. It feels like, at least. Just a small note. Don't overutilize slow-mo if you're working in film, because then when you actually go to use it, like in a good moment, it just won't hold the weight that you want it to. It kind of loses that meaning of that, oh shit, this is slow down. I wonder, okay, this is just a random bit, but I wonder if they ever name files silly things, because holy shit, I name all the time, like, oh, fucked, oh, this is mega fucked, and then like mega fucked times 2, you know, stuff like that. I guess, and I don't know. You know,
I feel like because they have such good teamwork and such a good relationship with each other, I feel like sometimes they do, yeah.
Yeah, they probably do. Like, here's, like, they just name it like, here's the fucking boat, you know, like, because they've just been working on it so long.
And us, we are like the puppet master, the puppeteer.
Yeah. And eyebrows, wow. That's a nice head. That's a very nice shiny head. I like it. Picasso.
No motion capture.
Oh my gosh, all of those lines everywhere. Like, I don't even know how I would begin to not feel overwhelmed looking and trying to like do anything with that. Also,
My God.
I was just thinking, do you have to come into a project like this already knowing the latest software? Because there's so many different softwares that you could use for a project like this. It's like, what if you're well trained in another one? How long is it going to take you just to learn the software in and of itself?
Yeah, yeah. There's so many different kinds, and companies have their different requirements for what you need to know.
They didn't talk about that at all last episode, but I feel like that would have been probably something brought up. Like, we hired everybody, but we had to all start using the same equipment and software, and it took a bit to adjust, but maybe it wasn't that bad.
And only that.
Look out!
Yes, that's the shimmer in her eye. Definitely something.
Yeah.
And she moved
Different
like a little
animation,
bit more
it
than
pushes to understand
someone
what
non-shimmer could.
happened in the body,
Yeah.
everything work together to have like this feeling of natural and believable animation.
Yeah,
And also it's about like the style of the show. It's semi-realistic, but it's not fully realistic. We try
Yeah,
to keep
I'm glad they
something,
didn't fully send it on being fully realistic, because didn't fully send it on being fully realistic. Just
I
because
agree, yeah.
it allows them to have a little bit of that element of coolness. Not that I'm just thinking more in terms of video game. You know, like it can have that video game aesthetic. Similar, a comparison I kind of want to make, maybe a parallel would be how with cinema in our superhero movies, we like to keep an element of realism. We like to normally have it in a planet on Earth most of the times, and with a structural understanding, like a cultural understanding we are aware of, like having the same countries and even having just straight up everything else working the same. Like in Avengers, everything's the same. It's planet Earth, but we have magic people. Hello, this is Editor Silly here. I just realized I rambled on and had forgotten my own point by mistake. I was trying to make a parallel between the cinematic universe of Marvel and how they are able to keep it realistic while also adding in that comic book feeling, whereas Arcane is also able to keep it based somewhat realistic, but keep that video game kind of feeling. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, then I just added on to the rambling instead of helping. But thanks so much for watching and enjoy.
Acting out characters, you know, it's about performance.
This is just my opinion. I think the people that were able to animate these characters to the degree that they did and capture the nuances in body language and in eye expression and face expression as they did have to have a pretty good, insightful understanding of themselves and how to read people in general. And that's not a skill that everybody has, because this job maybe from far away might not include something like being insightful, right? Like, why do I have to be insightful to be an animator? But when you really think about it, you can tell when it came across that they know how a person is conveyed, how their soul wears on their skin. And I think that reflects well on their person, on them in real life, because it reflects onto them that they are a pretty understanding and insightful being.
Yeah, I agree, because it's not easy to be able to understand those emotional subtleties in body language, let alone convey them physically in 3D animation. But
yeah, well, that's the part, right?
Yeah.
Arcane, it was something like I want to try this kind of animation because it's really different from the cartoonish style I used to be in, and after working for so long in the industry, I wanted to challenge myself.
Yeah, love that attitude.
I tried something like, it was a little bit pissed and walking slower and just making with the face and giving a small attitude.
I like the small attitude. They felt comfortable enough to take a risk creatively. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That reflects a nice work culture to not feel like they're so strict in line. Like, I gotta make it this way. And I think it paid off.
Movement to say, yeah, I'm the one controlling the stuff.
So
wow, I didn't even think of it that way. That's cool.
The animator,
cool.
when he was assigned the shots, he shoot himself in order to get some references, and that what gives us the realistic look.
He put shit on the ground to walk over too.
We do work a lot with references. We go in the reference room, we shot ourselves, we try to pretend and be the character and be in the right emotion.
Oh, they have like a designated reference room?
You end up having like some little accident that you do
that pretty cool.
Can be really interesting. And you're like, okay, that's pretty cool. Let's dig into that.
I love that!
Yes! How can I say no to such an auspicious offer?
Wait! Oh, that... They don't even care about gender either. I'm rewinding. This is too good. There was like a man playing the older woman, and there was like a handgun in there. Let's go back. So we got this stick with pillows taped on the end to give it weight. I love that. That's such a great idea. And then we got in the next one, if I pause, he's picking his nose. He's Milo. He's got a cool fake remake of some kind of gun. I'm not sure what gun that is though.
I don't know, actually.
And then we got.
Why we bother with this dump?
So I think it's a repaint. I think it's a painted Nerf gun.
That's great. And then there's.
How can I say no to such an?
The man playing the,
Yeah.
Not
the woman.
The morally corrupt woman, the older woman. Offer. Oh, love it.
When you see 1 second of an episode, like an animator spent a day on it. So if you work on an expression,
do you think he was being serious? Because he might have been 1 second equals a day. Because if you add it all if you add it all together, you add it together from storyboarding, voice acting, and the weird line thing we saw where they like made the parts to actually animating it, and recording the reference, rigging, getting the references, everything, and rendering it and putting it into the final lighting, everything. So I feel like a second might be a day.
Yeah, I feel like a fucking eternity. Yeah.
Also, what the fuck is this? A pizza box strapped onto like a chair with the fucking fencing mask? What is that?
And you can see like people like doing like
Yeah.
like this just this space where you're just like acting what it's that's the common
I
thing
can
in
physically
animation.
relate to that. You make the expression that you're creating.
I really wanted to be part of this sequence particularly. Like there was a lot of crazy sequence, but this one was the one for me. And I was really happy because I had the slow motion moment, and I have the opportunity to work with my son to make the movement of Ekko young. He's 9 years old, almost 10. We came here to shot the scene where Ekko is running.
No way! That makes it so much more pure, because that scene already holds so much pure childhood emotion, you know, like that feeling of youth just captured in that, and then, you know, the juxtaposition when it switches back to where they are as adults and how jarring that is, and it's just I love it. But to know it was shot with his actual little boy, and that's him running, and I love it.
That's pretty fucking cool, yeah.
Plus the music in that scene fucking slaps. Like, it really sends it. It really makes it feel so exciting. Great.
Yeah, it was so cool to share that with him.
Oh, and he gets to have that moment with his son and dad. Oh, cute. What are these triangles, eh? What is it?
Experimenting.
Experimenting.
For now, it's painting. For another kind
Wait
of
a second. Are they trying to say this is how they did Jinx's frames? Hold up.
more realistic.
Maybe.
2D effects are very specific at Fortiche because, you know, it's a Fortiche trademark, you know, doing 2D effects on CG animation.
They're just like traditional animators.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
One of them said that they were working like traditional animators. He was physically painting on a screen and then laying that over it looked like their animation frames.
That's what they were. Oh, wow, that is.
It gives that chalky, manic looking feel to it when they lay over the insanity frames.
That's why some of them looked the way they did. I was like, how did they get this?
That's fucking neat.
Yeah. Cool. Nice catch.
That helps with the choppy feeling too, because you can't mechanically, without a computer, perfectly line up lines, so it looks all jittery.
This kind of shot is really difficult to do because the camera is a little bit hard to follow. I think I worked something like 3 weeks on it.
That means, at least the way I'm understanding it, please tell me if I'm wrong, they animate to the camera. That's already there, like already predetermined how the camera's going to be moving throughout that space.
Yeah, I guess so.
Which
that would make sense.
I almost feel like that wouldn't make sense, if you know what I mean. But it makes sense. I think it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. It feels so hard to do. I don't even know how you'd begin break that down.
It kind of looks like they have the base 3D models, that animation in place, and they're animating the VFX over it, maybe? So the camera work is also already in place?
Yeah, you're right. I think they might have done the 2D effect, and then the camera's going through the 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That makes sense.
That's hard. That's cool, though.
How are you gonna make this better? You know, how is this scene gonna feel more immersive? You know, how are they gonna possibly, you know, level this up?
I kind of have that feeling each time I've been watching one of their things. I've been like, how it looks great. Each thing looks great, but it's not until it all comes together at the very last bit that you're like, holy shit, we've made something freaking amazing. Because it all looks great on its own, but it's really when you get to see each of these artists combine their work where you're like, wow.
Basically, we take all of what the other department has
Oh wow, that was a lot of stuff on the screen.
Because the background is paint, there is actually no lights, nothing is there. We have to create everything from the background, from what we see in the background.
Oh.
So yeah, we go from here.
so they go in manually and later. That's such a minute thing that details and everything.
Compositing at Fortiche is one of their signature crafts, and it's just a straight mystery box for me.
I cannot tell you.
It is a secret.
It's not that I'm, you know, hold back anything.
Sure, boss.
Some of the process I don't even understand.
I don't know if I can show you.
Oh, her hair is cool.
Yes, it's
the
kinda
secret
secret.
sauce. I'm not allowed to show you.
Special Fortiche way.
They're really sending it on like it's a top secret.
But it's so simple.
Fortiche
You
thing.
know
Yeah, I guess so.
You say,
It's not magical trick. It's just artists and people who are doing beautiful things.
Nah, that's kind of the same as magic, honestly.
Very magic is on the everywhere.
Well, this is a feel-good episode. Last episode, I remember feeling pretty stressed, even though someone related to my feeling in my comments, but I knew how it would end. Like, Arcane is made, and it's gonna get a season 2, but I was feeling nervous, because, you know, they were saying it might get cancelled, and
yeah.
But this episode's been more of a feel-good episode, which I appreciate. Had a long day, so it's like a good, nice, comforting music on. But they keep liking to end them on cliffhangers, and since we only got about 3 minutes left, I'm curious what kind of stress they're about to add in to make this shit, like, end on a cliffhanger, you know?
Yeah.
So let's see. Is that individual hairs? Was that individual hairs getting drawn?
That
onto...
looked like it was rigging those lines that look like a fucking hellscape for you to control different sections of the little hairs on the back of the neck.
Oh my gosh. How did this get completed? No, for real?
So much
no.
detail.
For real? How did this get completed in 6 years? Like, how? It should have taken like 60 years, not 6 years. This is insane. And also, mind you, my computer would blow up at any attempt to try to do any of these things.
It looked like they're using Maya or some sort of similar 3D animation software. I don't know if your computer can even open that fucking program.
Oh my.
If you see this glass, it's not round because a drawing.
Nothing is
not
round.
Perfect.
If you see the eyes, the pupils.
The pupil is not round. Except
Wait, they're telling me they purposely never made anything round because they didn't want it to be round? Except the gemstone. That makes so much sense why it's so... It stands out so much. It contrasts so much because it's like this perfect little round circle. I didn't know that. Now I'm gonna test their theory. I'm gonna be looking for perfect circles everywhere. Like, is that circle in Jinx's shirt perfectly circled?
This is the only moment where there is a sphere, perfect sphere.
Wow. The council's thing was circle.
Et l'idée un peu, c'est d'avoir chaque image, et c'est d'avoir que chaque image, chaque pose qu'on fait, ça reste un concept art, une belle illustration.
Yeah, that was one of the main compliments to the show was that you could pause at any point and it would be a wallpaper.
Yeah.
And they're just showing us that here. They're just showing all those great wallpapers.
There's just storytelling happening at every phase and every level.
I can't say much about the music part. Don't know too much about the music part, but very good, very bueno.
This is the music team, so
it is.
The songs.
They've been spending 3-4 years on the music for this show. Like,
I really believe that what we're doing with music in Arcane Season 1 has never been done in entertainment.
Ooh, period. Next episode, I think we're gonna be focusing more on the music side.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I look forward to getting into the music. I will have to do a lot of research in terms of the copyright. When he said that metaphor about them flexing all of their muscles as a company that they've grown, it really does feel like a piece of art where every single literal muscle that exists on a human could be as beef as it possibly could be. You know, and that's just Arcane. Like that, whatever that guy was I said earlier that I saw when I was scrolling through the League of Legends, that fucking massive tank of a man that could hold someone.
Oh, Galio.
Yeah, it just feels like that is what Arcane is. Just massive at every turn. And they did not let they painted every little corner, you know? Every little spot was loved thoroughly and deeply. And it's good. I keep complimenting it, and people are like, oh, you're fucking jerking off the show. It's like, why? It's like, because it's good. Like,
it's just a good show.
It's a good show. And I'm not trying to compliment it excessively. I am literally watching, an Arcane behind the scenes video, and there's just so much to compliment here. Their energy towards creating art is infectious. It makes me want to immediately start going and continuing my creative projects over here. And I think the most inspiring person actually I've seen so far was that man, I will go back through and get his name, but the one that animated with his younger son. And he was inspiring because he said how he purposely took up this project because it was an animation style he liked but had never done before, and it was new and outside of his comfort area. And that's just great, that mentality of let me try something new. So yeah, what was your favorite part?
I don't know what my favorite part was. The African American man animating with his son was really cool to not just to see, but to know that kind of genuine love and creativity went into the show.
I'm gonna rewatch that scene knowing that, and it's just gonna make my heart 10 times happier.
Yeah. It was also cool seeing the traditional style animation, old-timey animation with like the painting on the film and then laying that on their frames.
I wouldn't have expected that given how smooth and nice this show looks. I wouldn't have thought of the old animation. Alright, well, thank you so much for watching again. I look forward to reading your comments as always, and thank you, Elias, for tuning in for part 3.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful day. Bye. Dude, squeakiest chair.
Yeah, I know.
Known to man.